the issue of questions. How many are they?
Where?
Do you see them? So that kind of thing is for this person to gather as much information and do proper risk assessment before they respond. But if I have a drone, and by drone we are not meaning these matatus that are on the road. We are talking of a flying, remotely controlled devices. Yes. So how do they help us? One, in chasing suspects.
Yes.
Now, once you are responding to a criminal activity report, someone has told you thieves have attacked a mobile money vendor, they've taken the money and they've gone down there. So in that case, it means you are already having a time problem. The other person ran off 5 minutes ago. How will you follow them?
And moreover, in a dangerous place.
But what the drone now helps you with is that, remember, it has a bird's eye view of the entire area. So just a single drone could be able to have a visual of an area as large as near the whole of Kampala's central business district. Meaning even if a person runs to what level, they cannot outrun that kind of device. So in terms of chasing the suspects, you are able to do it. Remember, the drone also has a camera. So as you are chasing this individual, you are also able to get pictures of the person, because the person runs around and you can be able to position your drone at angles where you can be able to essentially identify them. So that is one service that the drones can be of very good help. Then two is a provision of light.
Yes.
Light is not everywhere. Even in the big cities, there are places where you find there is no light. So if I have my drone doing an overflight, it can be able to use its lighting systems to pinpoint. And that is in case a person ran into a dark area, the drone is still able to provide lighting. And remember, the drone is remotely piloted. I don't have to risk my life in the conduction of this particular exercise. Then the other one is in management of traffic. Remember, if you are managing traffic, you have essentially multiple intersections. It's important to coordinate them. You know, I'm releasing here and etc. This side is... So in case you are having drones, the drones have a far bigger view of the entire area. So you can be able to know that, there's a vehicle that has had a problem in this particular area, so I can't route traffic to that particular area.
In Uganda, we have jokes around our traffic lights that sometimes we forget they are on duty. Anyway, don't know whether it is the one manning them or it is the technology.
Anyway, it's actually it is quite tough for them to manage traffic, because you just imagine you stand on the road for very many hours. You keep directing, release this one, do this.
I thought they are automatically.
It is very hard. There are intersections where the lights may not be very efficient, so you rely on the decision of the traffic officer,
the one who is controlling.
But you see that it is a big problem. But once I have my drone, the drone of course is a data collector in that case. It is able to scan a bigger area, so I can know that if I release this particular line for 3 minutes, I will have cleared road ABC, and because I'm seeing these vehicles in real time. Remember also that the traffic changes patterns possibly very rapidly once you have multiple roads. If people see that there is a jam here, they very quickly switch to this. Now you find all of them have decided to switch here. This one now becomes cleared. The new area of problem now shifts to this new area. So all that real-time monitoring of the situation on the road is something that you can do very easily using a drone. The other one is in a search and rescue.
Search and rescue, yes.
Building has dropped on people, or there is even a flood, because there are some scenarios where things are very complicated. There is a flood. Because the houses have been swept. In that case, you still have a better chance with the drone. The drone will allow you to see exactly what is going on without necessarily having to endanger yourself, and also to identify particular areas where you can actually do whatever you are doing. Then the other one is, that one applies mainly to robotics. This point should be drones and robotics. Now when it comes to diffusing bombs, Now, defusing bombs is some very complicated work. One, the bomb should be made to explode.
Wow. And you can't be, should exercise a lot of caution. We usually see experts, they try the green one, and then you see he's hesitant. Then okay, the black one. And
in that case, in the movies, they are not necessarily, they are essentially preventing the device from exploding.
yeah.
But many times here, the principle is you explode the device, but in a safe way.
Yeah.
Now, in some cases, of course, a challenge arises that you don't really know how powerful the device is, especially if the device is crude. If it's a standard explosive device that you can look up online and see the blast radius, you can say this will cover this area. But in case someone has just cooked up his own bomb, you don't know how much they have put in. So you may think, okay, I've sent away people from this area, let me explode, and you find the explosion is actually beyond your original plan, and it causes damage either to nearby buildings or etc. So if I have a robotic system that can be able to get close to this bomb, pick it up, even if the bomb explodes, the robot is already designed with some very hard materials like what are the tough materials we have?
Here, it's uranium.
Uranium is not.
That is for.
Uranium is radioactive, but it's not a tough material. There's a metal.
Here, phosphorus. I always hear it. They are using it.
Those ones are all explosives, but there are some metals that are primarily hard. Titanium. Okay. So you could have your device designed using a very hard material like titanium. In that, even if the bomb goes off, still the device is not affected, but in that case the robot would be able to pick the device remotely, possibly put it in a containment chamber where even if it explodes, the chamber is already designed with some very hard materials that can allow it to discharge without necessarily throwing off. Okay, so those are, you indicate we need to look also at the risks involved.
Factors involved, because
now you realize that whenever you deploy computers, you are also now facing the potential for hacking. Now you imagine you are manning a law enforcement system and this criminal manages to access it. Meaning the criminal is now also able to monitor what you are doing. Whenever you send a dispatch, he's also able to see they have dispatched point X.
They call it looping.
You have dispatched person X. They also have access to the GPS feed, which is showing where the other ones are, so they can even ambush them. So that is a major challenge. Of course, they design very secure systems in that for you to be able to do it, you must also be either highly placed
or an insider.
Although insiders, of course, usually there is no solution to insiders. If I have allowed Mzee Sekalala to access the auto dispatch system,
then
and the Sekalala is given some money and he gives access to a remote.
So neither the Muslim who is out there in the forces, remember you have a duty to your Lord Allah and then to your employer, because you have a duty of trust.
So the problem of hacking comes in as number one, in case you are relying on computer-based systems.
Okay.
Then in case you are working with the drones and other remotely controlled devices, you also have a chance of either jamming, because there are some jamming technologies. They simply point the jammer to the device, it just falls out of the sky because it no longer has anything that can control it. So in that case, although the device itself, the drone, has a lot of potential, in case a person jams it, then you lose control of it. And worse still, the person could be able to take it over through hacking, and it becomes a bit of a problem. Then of course the cost implication, because all of these technologies require purchasing of very highly specialized equipment and the deployment of systems. You can see that up to today, in case you walked into a standard Ugandan police station, they still keep their records primarily on paper. So they have that case book there where you go, they write a statement and it is now in that case. In case you are going to overhaul that entire system and have them replace it with either mobile devices or computers, you can see that you need to face a major cost. So the cost, I think, is partially what keeps us. Although I think if the researchers in universities would sit down and try to find affordable ways of achieving this objective. Because if I can be able to use a smartphone instead of buying an expensive laptop like this one, I would allow the front desk to be just using a mobile application. In fact, even if we allow a scenario where this person writes the statement by hand, but we photograph it and upload it onto a commonly accessed platform, it can also be one way. Because in case you are going to be typing statements on the phone the entire day, I think it is not very simple. You may get very tired. But in case we are able to write it out, but we photograph it and attach it onto our digital case file, in that case we are able to move a step. Yes, it is not perfect, but at least you now have a chance that the case is actually available in a format where it is not only the officers at that particular station that can be able to access it. Because remember, some of these things are overlapping. A person commits criminal activity in Kampala, then goes, repeats the same thing in Mukono. So in case you have at least some information coming from other areas, you should be able to benefit out of it.
Wow, thank you very much. That has been our guest, computer science lecturer at the Islamic University in Uganda, as well as an ICT expert. So the viewer, if you're just joining us, we are in the final minutes of the show, and today we looked at law enforcement technologies as an area in science and technology in Islam that comes to you on the Alhidaayah show every Monday here on Salam Television. We have looked at the fact that as a Muslim, you have a duty. One, to appreciate the fact that Islam has contributed to civilization from time after time, and it is your duty as well to see where there are gaps in the reinforcement, because a safe neighborhood, a safe community is one that everyone should cherish to live in. So we have looked at one of the main impediments or risk factors that can be associated with the technology is hacking, and then largely the cost implication. Now to the Muslim students who are doing ICT, those who are studying technology, this is an area you can undertake as a form of research, to submit your project proposal to the lecturer, tell him I want to see how I improve the policing system of our country. Perhaps you will add a block to the development of our country and the Muslim generally. So as a Muslim, we always look at what is your contribution to the community welfare. Is it on an individual family unit? Is it at community level, nationally, or even globally? And we have seen those who have come to do big things are getting rewards. Of course, remember, the intention should be to seek the pleasure of Allah, and also ensuring that you do your best and pray to Allah to accept. So, Mr. Sekalem, as we are winding up, we have about 3 minutes. Give us the final message, and we see how to sign out of the studio.
Now, our final message, like we have said, one, we have looked at some of these technologies. Inshallah, I think next week we shall look at some others.
Okay.
But primarily, what we are saying is appropriate technology. That is our message.
Yes.
Yes, some of these things are available in other countries at a very advanced level, but our current resource envelope and the availability of universities that are teaching all these students should be a starting point to find ways of building alternative mechanisms of achieving some of these automations. Yes, for example, I need a body camera platform for my police officers. Yes, I may not get the very high-end one like the one that is deployed with an American officer, but I can acquire something cheaper, but it achieves the objective of recording the video. I need a platform for managing my criminal activity records nationwide. I cannot continue to run only on that casebook, which is at the whatever. So I think the partnerships between the academic institutions and the industry are what would drive some of these things to move in a bit of a more affordable and faster way. For example, if the police we're working with the ICT departments in
the different universities.
I'm very sure they would finally be able to come up with the solutions. To the issue of manually managing. Look, for example, at a mobile app. Really, we have mobile apps that have been built here in Uganda, and they exist. And we're looking at simple services, reporting criminal activity, paying fines. For example, if you had a chipapula now, how do you pay for the chipapula for the vehicles?
You have to line up in the bank.
That's what we are saying. But if this Sekarala has been fined some 10,000 or 20,000,
yes,
and he has his mobile app, which is available from the police department. He simply keys in his license, whatever number, and he is able to pay that fine instantly on the road. For us who travel a lot, you'll find sometimes you are stopped by the policemen. You sit there 30 minutes, 1 hour, begging the police person to allow you to move forward just because this person didn't pay the fine. The person is claiming but because the officer is also seeing the person was billed last week, now he has not paid, so we can't rely on his claim of but we can have these simple technologies available, just like just like the URA is doing for the majority of
Thank you very much. So, viewer, that was it for us today. We were with Sekarema Hamza, and the issue we are looking at the law enforcement technologies, where our message is largely to the government, the police institutions, the security agencies. We know security cannot be compromised, but working with the universities, we are the ones who give them licenses through the National Council of Higher Education. We hope they can partner with you to see that we have these technologies. The Muslim, it is even an act of goodness that you can contribute towards the improvement of our policing system. Remember, you can always watch this show again on YouTube. You type Salam Television if you've missed a greater part of the show, plus other available social media platforms. Otherwise, till next time, I've been Muhammad Sekarala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Eno, yes, Salam TV.
Meet Stone Atwine, the co-founder of Eversend, a startup